Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I decided, as the title says, that I wanted to do a quick review on the new Netflix movie To the Bone. The only thing that I really noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below, but for as many years as I have been in the eating disorder community, I have never ever heard anorexics commonly termed in this movie as Rexies. I've never heard that. Ever. So correct me if I'm wrong if you have heard that term, if you've dealt with it before, you've been an inpatient, and that's just sort of some new term that's come out in the eating disorder community. I have never heard of it, so yeah, that kind of confused me, but as for particularly To the Bone, Lily Collins played such an amazing role, and it was so raw, so true and honest to what a lot of us have faced or are facing. And I just pulled up on my phone the plotline summary of the movie, and if you have not seen it, here's the spoiler alert, which is not really a spoiler. I mean, come on, we've all seen the trailers. So I'm just going to read you what I found on IMDb. The plotline summary that I'm finding on IMDb is that Ellen is an unruly 20-year-old anorexic girl who spent the better part of her teenage years being shepherded through various recovery programs, only to find herself several pounds lighter every time. Determined to find a solution, her dysfunctional family agrees to send her to a group home for youth, which is led by a non-traditional doctor. Surprised by the unusual rules, Ellen must discover for herself how to confront her addiction and attempt self-acceptance. And I completely agree with everything that was just written for that. It is really hard to kind of watch her deviate from one center to another. And for the backstory for her, she has this huge Tumblr following. Something goes deeply wrong. She's being blamed for it. Essentially, she's gone through plenty of treatments. It's not working out. And so she decides that she's had enough. She don't want to deal with it anymore. And so her stepmom and her sister are trying to get her to understand, you can't continue to live this way. So they find an unconventional doctor. It was really interesting to see how Keanu Reeves took on the part of this unconventional doctor who sent her to this unconventional, non-tradition, just kind of like group home for those dealing with eating disorders. And boy, if these really did exist in communities, I think this would be one of the top ways to help those who are trying to find their way and trying to find self-acceptance. I think this is kind of a little bit better, in my own opinion, that kind of allows you a little bit more leeway into kind of learning how to feed yourself in a manner that you're not being watched, you're not being timed, as many, many, many other traditional hospitalization treatment centers there are. I did find it a little bit triggering. They did talk about calories. They did show the chew and spit And there was definitely a moment where Lily Collins' character Ellen did find her roommate's boxes. I can't say boxes, but box full of packaged vomit that her bulimic roommate was hiding under her bed. So if that bothers you, if that kind of stuff triggers you, I would suggest staying away from those particular clips. If I can find the actual timing, I will insert the times of these particular clips. That way, if you really want to watch this, you can avoid some of these triggering times. So if I can find the time slots, I will put them in here. But in my honest opinion, I really loved the movie. It was fantastic the way that they were bringing light to eating disorders. In no way, shape, or form were they glorifying them, making it seem like, you know, this is a way to beauty. It had nothing to do with that. It was showing the harsh reminders of what this disease really does to people. This addiction tears apart every single form of your being, and you are no longer like a human being. You're more like this empty soul walking around. Her sister even tells her, "You're not beautiful." Her stepmom says, "This is not what beauty looks like." There are times where she is like looking at the mirror and you can tell she's not looking at this as some sort of beautiful trend. This is just her way of controlling a situation in her life that she is just having no control over. Parents aren't always to blame. Family situations, yes, do exacerbate the situation, but are they the single cause? No, they never will be. They just exacerbate the already existing conditions. What hit me the hardest was the absolute last 15 minutes of the movie. I will not give any of that information away. Just for me, it hit me so hard that throughout the movie I found it kind of lighthearted. When she got to this unconventional group home with the non-traditional values that many other treatment centers have in forms of feeding programs, you're not being, like I said, timed, you're not being watched, you get to serve yourself the food, all that kind of stuff you'll see throughout the clips. And the last 15 minutes of what I felt like was a really heartwarming, straight to the heart movie that showed you can come from here to the most desperate of lows to finding some light and love. And the last 15 minutes just hit me so hard because Ellen finally came to terms with the fact that she's sick and she just can't keep on going because she is literally on death's door. And she breaks down to her mom. And it was so heart-wrenching to watch these last 15 minutes because it was everything I felt in my situation. For me, it did not trigger me in any way to go back to that. I do not want to be in that place that I was all those years ago. As I said, this movie did not trigger me in the absolute slightest whatsoever. If anything, it gave me hope that those who are suffering, that those who think that this is glamorizing eating disorders, for those who are watching this thinking that they're going to learn how to have an eating disorder and that this is going to make their life better, I hope in my wildest dreams will have helped so many people that tiny minuscule 1% who take this movie way too serious, to the heart, as in this is a glorification, this is saying that this is something to be attainable, or those who are impressionable should not be watching. There is, thank you Netflix, a trigger warning at the beginning of the movie. And again, if you're going to watch this, I will leave so many different avenues of different ways to be anonymous in searching for help. There are different hotlines where you can be completely anonymous and they can talk you through some things that you're having that moment. Or there's going to be links listed down below that are going to help you find ways to find help, traditional or non-traditional. I will do my best to find a wide variety of places, not only here in the US, but across the seas and across the world. I want to put that out there that this to me did not glorify eating disorders whatsoever. It showed the deep, dark side. It didn't show really too many different behaviors other than like the chew and spit that I really found that was a lot more triggering than anything else. Other than that, for To the Bone, that was really an amazing job that they did. So that in a nutshell is how I feel about To the Bone. Hey, as I was editing this, I realized I actually never gave a sign off. So excuse my appearance. I am just filming the end clip. I hope you guys liked this review. Like I said, To the Bone did not trigger me whatsoever. The last 15 minutes was definitely heartbreaking. I suggest if you want to see this film, watch it. As I said, I will leave tons and tons of links down below, providing you with as much help as possible if you are suffering from an eating disorder, or if you think you could be suffering, or if you know somebody is suffering. The links are going to be in the description box down below. So that is it for this video. I will, like I said, leave the time slots in which the scenes seem to be triggering to some and maybe not to others, but I will leave the time frame in which they are so you can skip through. So with that, I love you all, and I will see you in my next video, which will be sometime soon. Bye.